Alright. Seems to work. Alright. Seems to work. Okay, well, audio's probably fine. Welcome everybody to what we started yesterday. We're gonna continue with where we left off. Yesterday I was getting like extremely tired. I was working on trying to make this SQL stuff like completely type safe, but that's dumb. Because it's like, you're not going to make too many mistakes with this. Like, if you do, it's super easy to fix. It's not that big of a deal, right? But yeah, so we made this user access thing. I didn't actually document it though. That's what I'm going to do first. User data model. Creates the user table if it doesn't already exist. Okay. A new user object into the user table. I'll just keep track of how it's going. I can just open up here, have it open, so no problem. Okay, so here we're inserting a new user object into the user table. So this is the user object to insert. Returns the row ID of the inserted user. Alright, here we go. Updates a user table with the ID given user object. This is the user object. Update database. Then for delete, deletes the user in the user table with the ID of the given user object. The user to delete from the database. Okay. Gets a user object a given user ID ID. Use the ID to find the user with. Returns user object with this ID. Gets a user object from a given username. The username to get the user object from. Returns a user with the given username. Okay. Not forget by search. Gets all user objects matching a search term. Remarks. Search term matches the name and description fields of the user. Then the search term objects with and turns user objects that match a given search term. As an enumerable object. Alright. So that's the entire user access class documented. So I think that's it for that. And by the way, off recording, I also added a new what do you call it, property, the menu stack for down here. You can see that whenever we press enter now, and that's the last one where you return to the previous menu, if that's not the case, we push the current instance onto the menu stack. Otherwise, we try to pop the current version of it so that that one gets removed from the stack, and then in the actual action for returning to the previous menu, we now print the menu name. However, this isn't really finished yet because it's only getting the type. But yeah. Well, no, it would work because menu is null, or menu is null, there we go. Yeah, so basically I just prints out like the name of the menu, which right now is just get type. I can do some type of like string utils class if I needed to space that out, Oh, hey, Bum, I didn't know you were here. Welcome to the stream, I guess. You don't have to understand much of C#, to be fair. A lot of this comes down to just OOP nonsense, object-oriented programming, which is, yeah, you just gotta understand it. A lot of people don't like it, and I mean, I kind of get why. It's something that you just have to understand, and therefore a lot of people that are used to like Java and such are just really crybabies when it comes to OOP. They're always just like, nah, dude. functional programming is where it's at. But that's not how the world works, sadly. And a lot of people actually do like object-oriented programming. Anyway, got a bit off track there. Yeah, okay, so we finished that. So next we're going to move on to the business logic layer. So for this, we're going to have to go into data, make a new folder for, I guess, BLL. Well, it's not data though. No, it would be in project. You do logic, business, and then here, input. There we go, perfect. Then I can go into business and we can say, what file? Data hasher. So we're going to say data hasher.cs. Just mashing my keyboard so I can just get this stupid file header. There we go. Yeah, OOP is just one of those weird concepts. I mean, I think during like Basecamp, where I was like learning Python, it was just one of those things that didn't make a lot of sense to me. Like they talked about classes, and I just didn't understand it in the slightest. Well, I understood what a class was, but it was more like all the different things you could do with it. But then again, Python is the weirdest fucking language in the world, and there's so much shit you can do. It's really hard to like get your head into the OOP mindset. With here, you know, with C# it's easier. It's way easier. Makes a lot more sense. So it was data hasher, right? Okay, so we have a data hasher. What did we have to do? Okay, we need a public static string hash, most likely. String plain text. So this hashes the given plain text with a salt hashing algorithm to a hashed version of that plain text. Okay, so this is something I looked up with AI because I had no idea how the fuck you were supposed to do this, but I already forgot how I did it. I don't know where I looked this up, but I'm gonna have to search for it. No, it's not here. Oh, I imagine, yeah, I think. No, this is that. I don't know. I might have deleted the thing. So let me look up the salt. How to use salt algorithm? C#. All right. So we're gonna need. Okay. So we're gonna need a byte array. Salt size equals new byte 16. We're just do a const, private const int salt size equals 16. Because you know I might change it at some point. RNG. Okay, so they create a new random number generator. Yeah, I'm just doing like bytes, because that makes sense. So, using random number generator, this is in cryptography, RNG equals new, I guess, I don't know. No, not new. dot create, and assuming using the salt bytes. No, it's just creating a new one. Okay. That's a bit of an eyesore, so I'm just gonna do variable. Then we're gonna say orng dot get bytes, salt bytes. Yeah, okay. Returns nothing. It fills an array of bytes with a cryptographically strong random sequence of values. Huh, that's interesting. So it's like filling a buffer. Okay. And then we return what this says, right? This just generates salt. And this salt we can then convert from base 64 and use some type of hash algorithm to hash the actual thing. So I guess we need a private static byte array. Maybe no, that would be a string. Get salt. Yeah, get salt. Yeah, and then so we can now do this, and we can say convert dot to base 64 string salt bytes. Then we're gonna say byte array salt bytes equals get salt, or this would be, I guess, string oh yeah, convert that from 64 string, or is it doing it from bytes? I don't know. No, yeah, it's converting it to a string and then from a base 64 string. So you have salt bytes. Okay. PBK df2. Yeah, so then what they're doing is they're using a specific hashing algorithm, which is going to be, well, how do they do this? Do they make an instance? They do. So it's an RFC 2898. 289 derived bytes algorithm, we'll just call that, equals new plain text salt bytes. What? This is obsolete. The constructors on RFC 289 are obsolete. Use the static PBK df2 method instead. Oh, okay. PBK df2. But okay. Again, hold on. Let me. What are you saying? Okay, quick fix. Let's fix formatting. Use the static. Hold on. What exactly is this? Get bytes to use the dot ppkdf2. Oh, okay. So it's RFC to right, but it's dot pbkdf2. What exactly would this require, though? Origin hash algorithm 64. which here is the equivalent of saying password. That's a string though. Like it's supposed to be plain text, right? Oh, that does work. Okay, then there's no problem. Iterations. How many iterations? No fucking clue. Okay, these are some constants. Iterations is 10,000. Key size is 32. Private const and key size equals 32. I guess. Then you can do iterations. What is the hashing algorithm? In this case, hash algorithm name.sha256. Yeah, this one with the output length. Yeah, so we need the output length, and that is the key size, I think. Oh, using variable or just variable? Is this exposable then? Is this disposable or is it does it dispose itself? I suppose it does. So basically what this is going to do, it's going to make a new PBKDF2, whatever the fuck that means. I'm actually going to look that up because I have no idea. Stands for password-based key derivation function 2. A cryptographic algorithm used to securely derive keys from passwords. And a pseudo-random function to generate a derived cryptographic key. Coolio. Alright. So in theory, that's all it is. What type is this then? The byte array. Okay. Byte array converted. That's what I'll call it. So what do you do then? So basically we have that converted. That's a hash in this case. Right? Makes sense because that we've converted it, right? And then we will return the hash in string form, so that would be convert.toBase64 string hash. Right? So to recap, what does this do? First, it creates a salt, just a bunch of random numbers basically, which is a byte array of size, salt size, that's in this case 16. So it's 16 different bytes, which are from 0 to 255. Then we're making a random number generator, and we're filling in that buffer for the salt bytes with random ass bytes. That's what the random number generator is for. And we then convert this to a base 64 string that we return here. and convert it from that base64 string back into a byte array. That's basically just so that it's never open. It's never being shared. The byte array is always being filled with something. You know, just some base64, so it's really hard to decipher, right? And then we are creating a hash in byte array form from an RFC2898 derived bytes hashing algorithm using PBKDF2, where we convert the plain text with the sold bytes iterations, the SHA-256 hash algorithm, and the key size being 32 in this case. So what does it say that this does? Like this is the output length. It's basically how many that is, right? So if I go here and I check what it says, the size of the key to derive in bytes. Not necessarily sure why that has to be 32 though. Why don't I look it up? RFC28. No, I have to do it here. Hold on. RFC2898 derive bytes. Let me just see if I can find something. Derive bytes. Oh, I'll find a way. Is there any documentation on this at all? I don't know, man. Oh, here we go. Found it. Guess it sets the number of iterations for the operation. Guess it sets the key sold value for the operation. I would rather have the okay. This is a very strange one. You gotta love it when Microsoft doesn't give you any fucking help at all. Their documentation is absolute trash. I'm extremely confused. Methods. PPKDF2, here we go. Okay. This is the size of the key to derive. Used to derive. It can also be read-only span byte. Read-only span. Used to derive the key. Size of the key to derive. A byte array of length, output length. So yeah, the output length is how big the byte array becomes, which is apparently 2 times the size. This is one of those things you just gotta know what it is, and yeah, as long as I can explain it, okay, it's fine. That's the only thing that matters. Um, yeah. So that's just hashing it. You get the, yeah, just hash or get hash. Yeah, so we're hashing the plain text. So that would mean we've done this. Next is we gotta do a compare method. Public static bool compare string hash string value string hash. Yeah. And return value dot equals hash. And then there's a string comparison dot invariant closure. I don't know. Do something like that. I mean, if you were to compare two different hashes, I mean, how did they do the verify password thing? Because I saw that they did that somewhere. String hash to compare, that's hash password. And there's the stored hash and the stored salt. It hashes the input password with the stored salt. It compares it to the stored hash using cryptographic operations that fixed time equals. This prevents timing attacks. So what you would need to do, you actually have to store two things for the password. You can't just store the hash of the password. You also need to store the salt. Because you're comparing your hash password is with, you can generate salt, but the thing has to have a specific salt given to it. Yeah, you have to put it into the user as like a, yeah, okay, I see. So no, this is not what it is. You actually have to give the string salt value. Salt base 64. Salt base 64. That's gonna be here. And this one has to be public then. Okay. Compare hashes. We have verify hash. Would be a better name actually. I'm gonna change that. Verify hash. This should be a string. Salt base 64. And the generated salt. So that's yeah, all right. That makes sense. So okay. That means now we're gonna have a string value, string hash, and a string salt base 64. So now let me check, exactly how this goes. Yeah, we basically create a hash. So this should be the stored hash. And yeah, so we'll say string hash equals hash value and salt base 64. And then we say return the RFC 2898 divided by its dot. No, it's not on that one. It's from the cryptographic operations dot fixed time equals the left and right, which is, well, okay, we have, yeah, we want to convert it from the base 64 string, so base 64 string hash and convert dot from base 64 string stored hash. So basically converting it back into a byte array, most likely, right? Yeah, 2 byte arrays that you're in comparing. Fixed, so that there's less time for hackers to jump in, right? Makes sense. I think the easiest way would be to say, well, no, I think that's the best you can really do, honestly. We'll keep it like that. And then move this part up a bunch. So first, you get the salt base 64, where you got the salt bytes, use a random number generator to fill that buffer. Then we're going to convert that to a base 64 string. And then afterwards, when you're making a user object, you can call the hash method, which will take the salt base 64 that you generated, and some plain text, which is the password in this case, and create some salt bytes by converting it from the base 64 string. Then creating a new byte array hash with the hashing algorithm of SHA-256 in this case, and we're converting that to a base 64 string that we're then returning as the hash. And here you can verify hash, where we basically take the stored hash and the stored salt, I guess that would be a better name, huh? Stored salt. We create the hash over the value to compare. Then with cryptographic operations.fixed time equals, we're going to be checking if these two byte arrays, after converting them to base 64 strings, are equal. And that basically determines if a password is actually correct. Very interesting stuff. Wasn't actually that hard to understand. I mean, it's also pretty simple in terms of code. It's pretty simple stuff because of the cryptography simplifying a lot of stuff here. We'll throw this into namespace, data hasher, no, not data hasher, logic, project.logic .business. There we go. I just used the namespaces as my folder names. Don't know if that's what you're supposed to do, but that's my guess. Listen, they've never explained how it works, so how would I know? Okay. A data, yeah, a hashing. Or it's a hasher for converting plain text to base 64 hashes and detecting and comparing hashes. Yeah. And comparing all right. Creates a new base 64 hash using a randomly generated salt byte array. Salt. Yeah, randomly generated salt, and then returns a base 64 hash. I don't know, well, no, creates a new salt in base 64 format. Turns a base 64 salt. It's pretty simple stuff. Okay. Hashes a given plain text to the given salt using a hashing algorithm. Plain text to convert the salt to use for conversion, and a base 64 hash of the given plain text. Of the given text. Yep. Now we're gonna do the same for verify hash. Verifies compares a value to a stored hash and salt. This way, I guess you can put in the remarks. Falls otherwise. Then, I mean, I guess you can do B. I always like highlighting keywords because it's more clear to the reader. Okay, the value to compare, the hash, the hash to compare, to use as comparison. The sold to convert the stored hash. Returns true if returns true, the value is equal to the hash, to the stored hash, false otherwise. I'm just capitalize it for clarity. Okay, yeah, no remarks, and I think that's it for that. Right, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I guess that's that. Okay, nice. I did the data hasher, right? Also, yep. Nice. So that's done. I'm gonna grab some food real quick and also some water. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. All right, so we finished that one. That's good. Yeah, so we're probably gonna have to call this input logic. Is project dot logic dot utilities. There we go. Public static class input logic. Okay, so that was hard. So that's another one down. Speaking of, I think each one of these should be their own commit. No, I should just keep that for now. Is that the only change? Yeah, we can just run and do that. Yep. Must that broke it somehow? No, we're good. Okay, now this. All right. Alright. Well, that's two parts of the task done. Next is user logic. Okay, so we're gonna go type in user logic.cs, namespace project.logic.business, that file header, public static class user logic. Let's see. Oh yeah, maybe I should document this. An input was empty. The user input, and then true if the oh yeah. Isn't just white spaces, false otherwise. Alright, so for user logic, what do we have to do? We have a public static void, add user. Well, I should probably say the access file, right? So user access underscore access equals new. Static private static read only. Apparently private static read only has to be capital letter. I don't get style cop. I really don't. Okay, so add user. This takes in a user for us under namespace. It's just going to be access dot insert user. Cool. These methods are going to be really simple. Overlay public static void update user access dot insert or the insert update then public static void delete user. I think add update delete makes it a little less annoying to type because you're typing user logic, right? So you'd assume it's the user that has these. Nice. Now get by name. String name. Okay. this is a more complex one. Static bool verify login given a string name, string password. For that we're gonna have to use the data hasher. We get the user object by name that compares the hash password with the given name using the data hasher static class. Name. So okay, so we have user equals get by name. Our user is not null, and data hasher dot verify hash with whatever stored hash, yeah. So in theory, you know, it would be the user object. User.salt. So in our user object, I'm gonna have to extend this. So here, after this, we're going to say this dot salt equals, and the salt say public string salt get private set. Yep, and then salt the used for the password hash of the user and then we're probably going to have some type of like derived class of user that would be a little more specific, saying like, oh, this one we're not going to count. So say that it's like to filter it out, right? We don't need that one. That won't be part of the print or anything. Neither would password be, but you know, you don't enter the salt gets generated. So yep, we did that. So oh yeah, but I didn't actually document what it does. Or is used for it gets the salt used for the password hash of the user So now the user is good. It doesn't get my name. Now have we actually done this? Yes, we're just checking if user is not null and data hash or the verify hash. So we verify if password and user.password and the user.salt, you know, that's all correct. Salt is not, well, yeah, salt would have to also be a user access now. Salt, text not null. So there we go. So that probably is it. So we can mark that down. And then is valid password. So we're going to have string input. And now we're going to use a regex pattern to listen to the laws of whatever we need to do. It needs to be more than equal to 8 characters. So how does this work again? Well, okay. The idea is it needs to have at least 8 characters, of which one is as a capital letter and one of which is a symbol. So non-word character, I guess. No, it'd be a word character. It's just, I think. No, would it be? No, I don't think it's a non-word character then. Something like that. What was the regex pattern here for this again? Can I convert to generate a regex attribute? Using, yeah, no. The regular expression is being used. I don't know. I'm gonna do like this. Okay, well, what do we think? There we go. So, okay. If I stated it's dot at least 8 times I do forget how this works though. I'm trying to remember how it works because this is one of those regex things that like you just need to know about. Oh boy, I'm trying to figure out what it was. match input. So if I now go into program and test that, after I get rid of this nightmare, console.array line and then say like so this is obviously enough like letters, right? Maybe I'll just do like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Yeah, there we go. That's 8 characters, right? That's and then I just control F5. Or actually I don't think it's gonna run because yeah, this line should go away. And then we're gonna do control F5, come on. Yeah, so this is true. If I do this, it's false, right? So that part works, obviously. Now that one I know. But I need to know that of these 8, there needs to be at least one somewhere that is a capital letter. So you need exactly one match for A to Z. So within these 8, so okay, hold on. From start to end, we need so we need to have at least A to Z, 1, trying to look at what it's doing exactly. \W which 1 or more, and then .8 or more. I don't know. So yeah, that's not being considered, and then this is considered. Maybe? I don't fucking know. So it's false right now. So this should also be false. This should also be false. But this should be true theoretically. But it's not. see, it's like it's never fucking true. Okay. I mean, you can read what it says. And any character other than the word character atomically at least once, a match character other than Bex atomically at least 8 times. Match anything that's not that. Yeah, so use look-aheads for things that don't depend on each other. Yeah, so you want the whole thing in. Maybe you want the whole thing in. Being weird. I'm terrible at regex. It's question mark equals and then question mark. So you want the whole thing? So you want to actually do this. So then A to Z 1. Use separate capture groups. Oh, why is regex so fucking complicated? I get it. I know there's like some simple rule that I'm missing here. So you question mark equals for and then dot asterisk of anything. Oh, is that what you do? Okay. So if I say question mark equals dot asterisk A to Z 1 or more times, so in theory that's what it is. Match this 1 or more times. Then question mark equals dot asterisk backslash W maybe do that once, and then that dot asterisk, or dot. Or well, that dot, and then anything for and then basically any character, which is like backslash s, followed by backslash s. 8. So what would that do? There we go. I figured it out, I think. So what you have to do is you have to use this question mark equals syntax, which means it's a positive look ahead. Which means this is looking ahead to see if there is if there's at least one capital letter, and this is looking ahead to see if there's any non-word character. And then it checks if the length of the thing is actually 8 characters. So you just kind of gotta like separate the concerns, which is why regex is a goddamn fucking nightmare. But yeah. And then rename this to like password regex. So yeah, nightmare fuel. But I think it works now. So if I go and just do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, this would fail. This would fail even though it is 8 characters, right? You'd assume. Yeah. Put in a single A, or just do like E. It should also fail, as you can see. But as soon as you put in like an at somewhere, it becomes true. So yeah, it works. Could also do this with unit tests, but I'm too lazy. Yeah. So that's his valid password. And it's probably best that we make this its own partial method here, because that's a long regex pattern. But each one is just its own rule set. Yeah, okay. So that means we finished his valid password. And we only have get users by search left, which is pretty easy, because you would just do public static user array get by get users get by search basically. We just string search. We'll then do access dot get by search dot to array, so that we actually activate it. You know, lazy evaluation and such. Okay. Cool. Progress. That means these are all done now. And I just gotta document it. So logic class for user user objects using user access. What will it be? Oh, that is using. Oh, okay. Alright. Yeah. So now we gotta document these. Adds a new user object. The user object to add. Updates a specific user object. The user object to update. Deletes a specific user object. The user object to delete. Gets a user object by name. The name of the user defined. Returns a user object with the given name if found. Null otherwise. Okay. It gets all user objects by a given search term. Remarks. Matches the name and description of user objects. The search term define users with, user objects with, and then returns an array of user objects matching the search term. Then this verifies a user login with the enter credentials. This is the name of the user, the entered password, the user, returns true if the login was verified, false otherwise. Then here, if a entered password qualifies as a valid password, your password is valid if it's more than a and has at least one symbol the user input returns true if the password meets the criteria, false otherwise. Okay, that's pretty much it. Alright, so I think that's the business logic layer completed. Alright, time to commit the stuff. Updated the user class to sold property for comparing hashes. Okay. Now documented current input logic class. And then created user logic as with okay, there we go. So that was it for that, and we're gonna copy this and throw that into my thing here. Try Control V, save. Work is done. That I am now going to find first, because I have no idea where it is. Oh yeah, and I would need to push it on a branch. What would I call it? Rebranch user registration BLL. And then publish that branch. We're going to compare pull request, throw it into the def branch. There we go. Then delete the branch. Cool. Okay, we're going to be pulling from def branch now. Alright. So that was our business logic task. Alright. Let's see, what else do we have? User registration presentation layer. Fuck. Now shit's gonna suck. Probably. Okay. Well, it's not that much though. It's pretty simple. Yeah, this requires me to do a login menu. So let's do that first. No, okay. First we need a start menu. That's our first order of business, I suppose. Yeah, menu I still don't know about. We're gonna be pushing out with this. So, okay. Okay, so make a new folder called presentation. I'm gonna throw menu into that. Make a new one called start menu.cs. Namespace. Project.presentation. File header. Public class. Start menu inherits from menu. This should also be in the namespace of project.presentation. So what do we got to implement? A whole bunch of shit. Implement abstract class. Yeah. Okay. So all we need to implement are options and header. Header is welcome. Perfect. Okay. Now the options equals oh yeah, because it thinks I'm going to use a get set. But I don't. Okay, what are we going to do for options? Display options for login. So we're going to do login and login, for example. We're just going to call it what it is. Register a new account. Register a new account. Should I be capitalized? I don't think it should be capitalized. This should be register. Probably something like that. Then all we need to do is make those methods. Private void login. And what are we going to do in this method? I don't know, but first we're going to make the other one as well. So we have a login menu and a register menu. Oh, you continue without account as well. continue. Which I'm also going to make a method in here. No, this is, yeah, there we go. Alright. So what are we going to do here? So we have login, register, and continue. Login is part of the user login thing. By the way, we have everything. We just don't do anything at the moment. We do display options, I think. I mean, I'm not sure. Oh, it doesn't implement a setter. Well, okay, I can just do like get and then private set, I don't know, set. Okay, apparently that forces that here. Yeah, I guess that's fine. Although it complains here, it's that it should use field. But you can't use field unless it's in the getter. So that's annoying. No, what we need to do is we have to say, because it's not like you need a specific getter or setter, you just need to give it a default value. That's what you need to do. And then this I can put on that. Oh, I need to make these static. I guess to make that work. That might become a problem, because that would mean that it's not instance related. But I would say they need to be instance related, so now you know what you need to do? You need to do this and then set it in its constructor. So public start menu base like that, then say options equals I mean, you can just do that, right? So it's not that bad. You just gotta think about it. I actually wonder, can you reuse element on a Oh, you can use inherit doc? Huh. So you gets or sets an array of options that can be selected for this menu. Yeah, you can see. Yeah, gets or sets. The array of options. Yeah, so it gets or sets this start menu. By the user. Okay, there we go. Okay, and then does that initialize a new instance? Sets the options property of this class, this instance. Which you would probably want to do without instance-based stuff, but you kind of have to. Because we're going to be messing around with that a little bit. Okay. Constructor should not follow a property. Oh yeah. Fair point. There we go. Gets the header start menu UI, and then inherit doc. Whoa, inherit doc. Should be used for displaying a prompt to the user. Yep. Yeah, there we go. String key action value array where key is the prompt for this option, value is the action performed when selecting the option. Wow. Hello, Tice. I'm still on the grind. Still on the fucking grind. Dealing with this shit. Anyway. So. Oh yeah. Let's complain that I didn't use this. Because I don't know. Fun times, right? Gotta love the unnecessary shit that this stupid extension forces you to do. Alright. Yeah, so that's the beginning, right? If I look back at the task, we display the options. Oh yeah, continue without account. Yeah, we have that. I mean, we've inherited from the menu class. The register menu class I cannot do at the moment because I need to make the login menu class first. I know, I'm a very smart boy. So, yeah, that's a thing. So login would just call the I guess you could say like anytime you go into a new menu you manually add it. I don't think you have to do it through the menu because the menu is that seems just like kind of pointless. And if you go back, then it automatically tries to pop whatever it is. So you really only just need this. Okay. Yeah, so we're just popping in, that's it. Yeah, because we can just do that in our own thing. So instead of private, let's do protected. And then I got a document because it's protected, great. The call stack of menu classes remarks should be pushed to when entering a new menu, when creating a new menu object to be fair, you could just give that to the constructor, couldn't you? Like I could say in the protected menu, I can say a menu I'll pass menu to set options, I guess, and give set options a menu, and this would be popped menu, for example, or last menu. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, because if we just simply do the menu that's currently active, so that when you go into the next, that it will remember what the last one was, right? Yeah, I'll just name it like last menu or something. That's what I'll do. Which I guess should be a static thing, shouldn't it? Like it would be like a protected static menu last menu get and set, I guess. Because you can't do private set here, right? Oh no, you can. Okay. But that's a dumb idea anyway. Should be again set. And then maybe instead of doing the pointing thing, we should say the last menu equals last menu equals menu. I'll just rename this last menu. Don't give this a parameter because we don't need it. I'll just rename this menu again. Adding the required? No. The default would be this, I guess. Or, well, no, that doesn't work, obviously. Equals null. So or no, don't even make it a fucking property. Just say like menu stack dot push last menu. Even easier. I'm stupid. Oh yeah. Param name equals last menu. The menu prior scene prior by default. Then slash param we have to say if last menu is not null, pattern matching, that menu stack dot push last menu. There. Okay. Cool. Okay, what do we do next? Okay. See, because now what you could do is theoretically, if this was a new thing, which now we don't have that right now, but what you could do is you could just yeah, no, yeah, you would give it, yeah, last menu equals null, reuse inherit doc. I have forgotten how this works. Maybe you can do inherit doc. No, I can't. I don't get it. Or wait, no, not even this, just... Well, no, okay, you have to pass it in, which would happen in that other class, but start menu doesn't have anything, so therefore it doesn't give anything. But this, for example, if you had like an actual one that had it, you could do something like that. Oh boy, starting to get a headache. How long have I been doing this for? Huh, 3 hours? No, not even, 2 hours. Holy shit, man. There's literally a fucking timer there, why didn't I see that? Okay. No, but this would call like a different method basically. So, or class. I got my analogies right. Alright, we gotta do the login menu first because otherwise we can't do the other one though. Project presentation. What was it called? Login menu. Which inherits from menu. Look at that. Implement abstract class. So we're just gonna do your basic get and set. And then do well, we're gonna have to do this every time, so I'd rather say this also has this nightmare in here, which is going to be options. No, I don't throw it in there because that wouldn't work. Or rather, instead of making an abstract, you give that, so you can say this dot options equals options. Okay, then pair of name options. The options. Yep. Going to the start menu. Maybe not. Do I even need a setter? Couldn't I just resize? No, I couldn't because you need a reference. Yeah, that's the problem. You can't make a reference of that property. Okay, it's fine. No, because you would have to do it for every single one, I think. Just set it like that. Oh yeah, and then login menu, that's what I was doing this for. And then public login menu, base, well, perhaps there's only going to be one to be previous. In fact, if I have a previous, why would I even have... I don't even need a menu stack for that. Just have a last menu, that's all you need. get private set, and then say just say last menu equals last menu. Then we don't need this at all. Then we this the last menu question mark. You just have to keep track of what the last menu was, so that wouldn't be that bad. Yeah, base last menu, and then you fill in the list of options equals. And for that, I'm going to pull up my other thing, see what that was. So we're displaying options for username and password. Just missed our username. And password, this not password. Then private void username and private void password. And then instead of this, we can say, because in theory, the only thing we're using the last menu for is the type, right? So in fact, I think a string would make more sense. That's the name of the last menu. Because then, you can just say start menu, for example, and then that sets this for options. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I still have a headache. Indeed. Indeed you are. Okay. Alright. Whoa! Get your head in the game, man. Okay. What are we doing? Yeah, so we basically just have that. So we need to ask for an input there. But also at the same time need to do other shit. Hold on, let me see. We also need to confirm. Okay. So we need to confirm. Yeah, so including enter values I've entered. Yeah. So, how this works. This is going to be a bit different of a thing. We're just gonna do... Well, I guess you could make a record. Could make a record like within the class itself, I think. Yeah. So record login credentials, which is a string name, string password. However, if you make a record, you do not have a I guess we need a public login credentials for a string name, string password. So for that we're gonna need to make some, we're gonna need a public no, it's probably easier if you just make two different ones. Or, I mean, you could do it. What you would have to do is just say that these have a default of NA. And then C equals new. I mean, hey, that works. And then yeah, but this would change, right? Because this is so we're gonna have to change something in menu then, because that wouldn't work. It would be a func string. Right. Rather than a string key. because it's about thingamabobbers or whatever. It's about like retaining state, because the state is going to change constantly, so therefore you need to make it, you know, delay that actual execution. So there we go. You call the key. Func string is the func string. There we go. So that works. Just gotta make sure this is func string. Because it's instance based. Okay. That's that one. This also has to change. So this one's going to be username followed by credentials dot name. I mean, I think it's easier to just do a string. Private string name get and set, I guess. Sure, I was gonna have to set it. Yeah, you can just say this name. Way easier. This dot password. You probably don't want to be showing that though. I mean, technically you could, like, if, because it's for you, right? Technically, it's not being stored anywhere, it's just shown on your screen. But at the same time, you're storing the password, which is bad. So, I mean, you could get the hash first and store that. So you can see, like, the hash, and it'll then change. Yeah, so change these to gets, because that makes more sense. There we go. And this can just be confirmed. Yeah. However, for this, we can maybe index this. B dot dot. Like just a const or something. Private const int max hash chars equals, say, like 8. Something like that. Alrighty. NA equals NA. Okay. Yeah, we don't need this. But yeah, so that means now this sort of works. Maybe. Because I'm wondering if I can make this like kind of more generic, so that when you inherit from this, you're able to reuse it. No, because you would just like get the same thing and then. Yeah. And then we have a virtual void. Private virtual void. Whoa, no. These should all be protected, not private. And this should just be virtual, because we're going to be replacing those. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to be displayed. I mean, I might be able to test it. So say like if I'm going to say new start menu. That should be public. Control F5. Line 104. Set options. Very strange. Options was not set, apparently. Oh, did I change it from abstract? Nope, it's still abstract. Oh, is the start menu... The idea is you make it, but then it calls the base before it's set. Yeah, that's the problem, huh? Would this work? If I like went in here and I just did like this. It does. Okay, well that makes my life easier. Just make it delayed execution. Always the most fun thing in the world. No, it still doesn't work. Because it doesn't know what this is, right? How the hell would I do that? I'm really trying to figure this out. Because, I mean, I have to set it, because otherwise I can't expand it. The only way you could do is you did it statically. Maybe you could do it statically. Like you would say like static, static, static. Then just stuff in there. Okay. Yeah, it's just a bunch of that stuff, and then documentation of that. So what happens now? Okay, well, it didn't run anything. Which is peculiar. I mean, that's just because I didn't actually do anything with start. Because it's the start, right? Yeah, no references to start, no wonder. Yeah, let's make this private then. And call it in here. This not start. So you resize the screen. Okay, why is that happening now? Why is the box too small? Hold on, let me just test something out. If I did like what would the menu look like? Okay, so there's just something going wrong with calculation of the box size. So it's option.length, length more x equals length. What if I did +1? Nope. Why is that happening? Because, okay, the longest one is failing, but why? That means it's not getting the correct X size. So that basically means that one of these is failing, because in print vertical line it's not padding right enough. This is very weird. Because that means the padding of right is invalid. Okay, well, I mean, that works. Yeah, I just had to put some more, put some extra bit of, like, padding, because otherwise it would break. So yeah, that makes sense. Return to blank. Yeah, so if there isn't anything, return to shouldn't even be made. So let's go to set options. Null return. This the last menu is null return. Alright. So, simply doing one of these. It's not going to do anything at the moment because nothing has been told to do. Has been told to be done. For example, we have a login menu now, right? So what if I said new login menu? Right? So I still need to change the text. I haven't changed it yet because I was debugging. Whoops. Unhandled exception. Oh yeah, because here in login menu is also not set. Hold on, give me a moment. Static. Static set equals this, but just remove the this calls, because this isn't an instance variable. But I wouldn't know what that is either. So I guess I would have to make that static as well, which is initialized as NA. Well, then I would have to just say simply name equals NA, password equals NA. Then you don't even need these because they're separated. Well, no, you would, because otherwise it complains for some reason. Okay, we're gonna figure this out. What else is? A static member cannot be marked as virtual. Why can it not be marked as virtual? Because that makes it really annoying. I mean, what I was thinking, right, is if I were to, inherit from this, I could change the actual way that get password works, but it would still be used like that. It would do the same thing, except it's just very slightly different. This is confusing me. Because would that mean that if you were to inherit from this, we would end up being able to do something? Who knows? But for now, this technically works. Oh yeah. Wait, no, can I say passport.aspam? Start lang. I'm assuming that would honestly also cause the issue. Oh yeah, and by the way, every time you do this, it should probably clear the screen. That being done in start though? It's not. maybe it is. Somewhere there's probably a clear. There's clears here, but what do you mean? Oh yeah, because it has to be cleared right at the top here. So what would that do? Okay, that works. So now you can do that, cause an exception. Parameter start was out. Parameter start was out of range, what? Well, that's not the one I expected to be out of range. I guess because it wasn't defined yet. No, I mean it's static though, so it would be NA starting out. Nose is being a bit weird. It's fine. Okay, what can we do next? How's parameter start a problem? Okay. You're not making sense. Yeah, the only thing I can imagine doing is, well, what they do is substring, which substring is strange. But again, if you do this, the problem is this value is too big. So we're gonna have to do math.min that substring is the same as just this. Oh yeah. Easier way to do this is to say yeah, there we go. Return to system.string. Beautiful. It's because it's doing the get type instead of the actual thing it's supposed to print. So it's set options. Right now it's get type. You don't need to type. Turn to start menu. Strange. Doesn't clear it. Let me also just do ASCII. Alright. So if I do start menu as small, so now I can go start menu, which is going to have a public override string to string, return no. It's like medium size is what I'm looking for. big one of them. It's big. Currently trying to look for the one I used before, but I don't know which one I used. Because it's not small, it's not big, so I don't think it's big. If I typed in main menu, copy this. So you see this? See, it's not that, so it's something in between. So I gotta load them all, see which one. That I'm missing here. There's Doom, Big. Standard. That's what it is. Standard. Standard. Okay, so instead of, we've got this big boy, okay, now I'm going to do the same one for login. Copy that. Public override. So username, password. But why does it do that? Like it doesn't clear right. Right, so you click enter. It should clear the full screen, but it doesn't. I feel like when you make anything, it should clear the screen. Maybe that's not the case though. What if I clear the screen? Immediately I should make the menu object. Why does it do that? Why is it doing that? I don't get it. Fuck, man. I don't get it. Because it should be clearing it. Because, okay, so what ends up happening is it calls an action. That action ends. It goes back up here. In start. And yeah, it never clears the menu, I think. But then when it goes into print menu, yeah, it doesn't clear. Every time you clear it, it should just clear the screen every time. Right, so there we go, that was the problem. Okay, that makes sense. See? Nice. Okay, so that means we're inheriting from the menu class. We've displayed the options and the confirm. Okay, so now we actually, I'm still confused on the virtual. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I mean, no, you wouldn't be able to do that because you can't wrap static. You can't wrap a not static method in a static method. That just doesn't work. But yeah, you can do this, and you can see there's a username, password, confirm, and start menu. I guess instead of login credentials, I would say login page, because login page makes more sense. But we're not doing the login stuff yet. That was just so that we could make the register one, which the register one is simply going to make a new register menu. Although you can also say that making an instance of this pointless. You could make this stuff static in a way, because all this is static. I feel like if you make everything static, you would get the same result, right? Like, I mean, you're not storing any instance variables outside of is running, but that doesn't statically get carried over to all instances of this because it's a different class entirely. Sure, it inherits from it, but that doesn't mean anything when it's private, so I feel like everything here can be static. No, because top would be well, no, I don't think you have to define top, do you? Like, top gets like defined once. No, but you can't. No, because no, these do have to be instances. Because I was thinking of making start static, but if you do that, that's gonna break some stuff with oh yeah, and considering that's because I don't even have to clear, I don't think. Well, that's gonna cause a compile error. Just give me a moment. For now, I just do this for now. Login menu. I'm gonna make this public. Even though I think you could theoretically make this static in a way, but there are some things that can't be made static. You can't use inheritance if it's static, so but yeah. We've been going for 3 hours. That's a pretty good record, huh? It means it started like 2 p.m. Damn. Yes, this is the login menu. We're gonna make a new one. Which is the actual one. This is the one I've been trying to work towards. This is the register menu. Namespace, project.presentation. Then we're gonna do public class register menu, which inherits from menu. No, actually from login menu. Right, so in login menu, you can do protected override, right? Yeah. And then protected override, header. Okay. Then what else do we need? Anything else? Yeah, and then public override string to string, which is going to return register menu. Then we're gonna copy and paste. Okay. And then my problem though is that I want to say public override well, I mean, yeah, I can just make new methods for it. I'd say that some are the same and some are not. Getting pretty damn tired. I don't have much time anyway, so. Yeah, so basically what I'm planning to do here is to I can do that, for example, and then I would just say this should be like get set equals Yeah, because I'm trying to overwrite this. Which means that options is already set. The only thing I want to do in the constructor is manipulate it. So I can say something like options one.key equals dot value equals, say, get. Now it remembers this, so I'm going to make this private. For that, I'm just going to make like a private void, private static void, get password. Confirm. And yeah, we just keep the other one. Oh yeah, still gotta make that new register. Alright. Alright, it's coming along slowly. It's gonna be It's gonna be so asinine, but hey, I mean, it's more expandable, okay? I might not like it, but it's at least more expandable than what I had before. You just gotta understand how it works, and then you can easily expand it. Okay, get rid of those. Yeah, I kind of have to do the login menu first. But yeah. But perhaps I should probably like say exactly how big your screen has to be. Which I guess I calculated that somewhere. The is terminal too small thing. Just window height minus this dot top is less than this dot underscore length plus 9. Okay, I'll just say private int min terminal size, which is this dot options dot length plus 9. Then what I can do is, for printing, I can state to at least of min terminals, right? Vertical size terminal size, which I could say is this, the terminal size. A lot of these this things probably useless, but still. So say what if I made it really small? There we go. That's a little more informative, don't you think? Nice. I think I should stop using the using static thing. I think that's pointless. Just do it with console. Not this whole thing is actually console based. Listen, the other UI helper is only console everywhere. Yeah, maybe then you should use the using static directive, but here that's just not necessary. Makes it a lot less clear what all of this does to me, so. And then console.readkey. The only thing right now that isn't good here is this, because the start method is still up here. So let me do that down here. Yep, there we go. That works. I mean, this class is pretty big, you know, but these are less than 30 lines. You know, that's kind of the point. is that like there's all this, which is a lot, and then there's like almost nothing for these, right? In fact, most of it is just a 2-string. Yeah, that's the beauty of OOP sometimes, you know? But yeah, we have to make a login menu. Fantastic. Well, this is something that I think the menu can handle. It's like some public methods. Public string input. String message. To just make it as Pythonic as possible. Write message. Prompt the message to print returns the user input. Returns the user input. To display. And then also public void ask enter. Right, then you can just say console.write message, and then console.read key. Ask the user to enter a key. The message to display to the user. Defaults. Yeah, there we go. Now these should be static because they're to be fair. I would say those belong in input logic utilities. Yeah, because then the menu class stays kind of clean, and in the login menu you can say string. You know, we can just say name equals ask or input logic dot ask input, enter your username, yeah, string should be this. If input logic dot is not empty, to be fair, you could make these a bit different. Say input logic dot is not empty, you throw in a reference, right? Or just it gives an out. Yeah, you can do like an out. That might be better. So an input logic kind of like that more. String value no, because I mean that would just replace it though. I think in this scenario it's better to just say is not empty name equals name. I feel like we need some type of validation function that will take one of these validators and then print an error message based on that. But whatever, I'm done for today. Been doing this for way too long. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that live stream. I did this for way too fucking long. My brain is dead. We got through the business logic layer, and we've made a decent start to the presentation layer. Honestly, this is probably the hardest one to do, which is funny because I give it like 5 story points, but yeah, this is probably the hardest one to do just because it's like on the startup. Like on the startup is so agonizing to do. It takes so fucking long. But yeah, I had fun, and I hope you guys had fun too, listening to me talk like a buffoon and making mistakes like a buffoon. But yeah, I've had enough. So yeah, goodbye guys.